I want you to look at our class photos over the last couple of years. Look closely. Do you notice anyone missing? If you said African Americans, you're right. So, I'm not claiming that we're going to get to the bottom of this issue, and I'm definitely not saying that we're experts on this subject. But this is something that we've been noticing. I mean, have you noticed it?
Oh yeah, definitely noticed it. And it turns out we weren't the only ones.
My name is Chris McCord. I'm 24 years old. I grew up east side of Detroit. But there was a point where I remember just even looking around base and not seeing any African Americans. Where I think now on our base there's maybe three, four, five.
Out of how many?
Out of our staff, probably 60.
I was the only Black person in my outreach team. And I think in our whole school, there were 2 others.
And that's kind of what our schools have been like too. In 2017, we had 266 students. 193 were white and only 5 were Black. That's only 1.8%. And that raises the question, what's going on?
So first thing I kind of wanted to say was, the current state of African Americans in missions is pretty dismal.
Yeah.
But it is hopeful. It's about less than half or 1% that's currently on the mission field. So this is not just something that is unique to YWAM.
The picture of what a missionary is, it's a picture of a white American going to an impoverished country to serve.
Advertisement, publications, things promoting mission agencies, YWAM, or you name it. You'll always see a Caucasian man or woman holding a brown baby, whether from Haiti or Africa. So what does that communicate over years? Missions is not for us, right?
I've realized in the last year, representation really is important. And if you don't see someone where you want to be, it's really hard to imagine yourself being there.
So this is a complex issue for sure, and we're not going to cover all the bases here, but I found it fascinating that people kept zeroing in on this idea of representation, that being able to look to African American leaders in the missions movement was the key to making forward progress.
And this is so fascinating because, in fact, many acknowledge that the first missionary from America was an African American.
African Americans, however, have had a rich history in mission. I don't know if you've heard of some of the people like George Liele.
I had heard about him.
I just heard about him for the first time this summer. But as we researched, we found so many examples from the 18th and 19th century. People like George Gibbons, William Henry Shepherd.
And Betsy Stockton really stood out. She's considered the first single woman missionary in modern missions. And these people are real heroes that the African American community can look to for inspiration.
Now, the 20th century saw a decline in African American missionaries. And this is fascinating. I want you to listen close because we're actually repeating history.
When you think about the predominant missionary organizations, they're all white. So when they're outreaching and spreading awareness about the different trips that they're going to do, they're more likely to go to people that they relate to or know, and that is other white people.
This is the same issue that they had in the 19th and 20th century. The student volunteer movement, this would be like the main recruiter for missionaries in that time. They would primarily go to universities where it was less likely to find African American students. And this is exactly the same issue that we're dealing with today.
There are more African American students today than we had 5 years ago. Circuit Riders is doing missions movements at historic Black universities, and the Sun is also trying to raise $1 million to try and really champion African Americans in the missions field. So progress is happening.
Yeah, if there's one thing I'm taking away from all this, it's that we can't be isolated. We have to intentionally build bridges with the African American community. This is the first step in making real progress.
In order to fulfill the Great Commission, we need everyone at the table.
We need African Americans in the missions movement.
And there's a lot we as African Americans can bring to the missions field.
So we're calling you to start praying for breakthrough in this issue.
We're about to see the greatest mission sending movement in history, and African Americans will be a part of it.
I quit my job, left everything, and I joined Finish the Task, and I've been a missionary reaching the unreached for 5 years, and I want to tell you that there's a portion, let me tell you this, I'm the only black man on my team. There was such a closed door with the Arab Muslims, but then I started to make connections with African Muslims, and I led 2 of them to the Lord. And after that I said, Lord, if you can use me with the people I look like, I lay down my preference, send me to Africa, and that's why I will die, so that he can receive his inheritance. And I want to tell you, black boy, black girl, that there's a portion and a part for you. And if God can do it with me, he can do it with you. And I just bless you in Jesus' name.